joining this evening. We are so fortunate that we are having today our temple president, His Grace Pancharatna Prabhuji. And Pancharatna Prabhu is having so much deep knowledge and very profound knowledge about this Bhagavad Gita and this subject matter. And he's going to take us move forward in this Bhagavad Gita reading. And just a quick recap, what we have read so far. Last week we have read that out of so many human beings who are suffering, and why we are actually suffering in this world, because we are not the controller, we are controlled. And we have given this example of Prabhupada, that Prabhupada usually say that we are not God, we are God in like in quality we are God, but not in quantity. So we are controlled God, we are not controller gods, we are controlled God. And we have also discussed the 5 basic subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, that is Jiva, Krishna, and what is that nature and activity. And also we have there is 5 subject matter, that Jiva, controller and living being, nature, and then karma
and kala.
Hare Krishna. So I'm like having some thought from yes. So five subject matter we have discussed, and today we are going to discuss from this introduction where we have left, that we should know, however, that at this point our consciousness is contaminated. And not taking much time, I would request His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu to please take us forward in this Bhagavad Gita reading. So over to you, Pancharatna Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Nice to be here with you all. Everybody's coming every week, is it? The same group coming every week?
Today is, I guess, today is more participant. Every week we are having 20 or 21 participants.
32,
so today we have 32 till done, but I guess more are yet to join.
5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita. Does everybody, you've been reading it, so everybody knows these now, right? Everybody understands all these 5 very clearly, I'm sure. We have a system of everybody raise their hand. Can we do that? Do they have that or not?
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I'm just going to share that screen of that Bhagavad Gita from online page, and they are just going to read from that paragraph. I'm just going to share that screen.
Read what paragraph?
We are actually having system that people are usually going to raise their hands, and one by one they just read the paragraph, and you just need to explain the facilitator basically explaining the things.
What I'm just asking, that you have been reading beginning of the introduction. You just mentioned now the 5 principles of the Bhagavad Gita. So I just wondered how many people have remembered them and understood them. You just mentioned it, but I wonder how many people. One is there, one hand is up.
Yep.
The people know how to raise their hand. They have the idea, right?
Yes. So Ritambraji is there.
Chavi, Mukund Murari Prabhu, Baby Soni, Rekha Punjabi, Gita Singh. Oh, 2 hands. Mother Mittal, no, Atharva Joshi. Okay. Because this is the basic principle of the Gita. If we don't know the basic principle, right, we need to know that. What's it about? Ishvara, who is Ishvara? Who's the Jiva? Right? Who are we? Who's the Jiva? What's the relationship? Prakriti. And then ultimately the Kala factor, time factor, and karma. Things we should be fixing in our understanding. Basic principles, basic things we should remember. So today we're reading from page number 11, is it?
Prabhuji, and my Bhagavad Gita, it is because I have this, uh, I guess this is like big font Bhagavad Gita, so it is
Okay.
page number 11 in my Bhagavad Gita, but I'm just showing it on a screen.
Okay.
When,
And then
yes,
everybody gets a
from this.
chance to read.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Here we are. Here we are.
So I
All
would
right.
request, and I would request everyone to please raise your hand, so we can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and start reading. And we have His Grace Pancharatna Prabhuji, who is just going to give us his deep, profound knowledge on this. So I would request Raksha Vermaji to please unmute yourself and start reading from this paragraph, when we are material contaminated.
Can I
Hare
just
Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Just,
When we are
just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. Yes, yes, Prabhuji, you were about to say something.
if something catches me and I want to say something, do I raise my hand or I just come in the middle?
No, Prabhuji, you can interrupt in between, and you
Okay.
can just put your insights.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right.
Yes, Raksha Vermaji, you can start reading from here. Hare
okay.
Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. When we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned. False consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I am a product of material nature. This is called false ego. One who is absorbed in the thought of bodily conception cannot understand his situation. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to liberate one from the bodily conception of life, and Arjuna put himself in the position of order to receive his information from the Lord. One must become free from the bodily conception of life. That is the preliminary activity for the transcendentalist, one who wants to become free, who wants to become liberated, must first of all learn that he is not that material body. Mukti or liberation means freedom from material consciousness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also the definition of liberation is given. Mukti
Hitva anyatha rupam swarupena
Swarupe
vyavasthita.
Vyavasthita. Mukti means liberation from the contaminated consciousness of this material world and situation in pure consciousness. All the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken this pure consciousness. And therefore, we find at the last stage of the Gita's instructions that Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now is in purified consciousness. Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. This is the whole sum and substance to purified consciousness. Consciousness is already there because we are part of parcel of the Lord, but for us, there is the affinity of being affected by the inferior modes. But the Lord, being the supreme, is never affected. That is the difference between the Supreme Lord and the small individual souls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
This idea of, it says it here, English, contaminated. This word Prabhupada's used. Yeah, there, no, yeah, where was it? Go back. At the very beginning of the paragraph. Okay,
Yes,
we
yes.
are materially contaminated. I mean, is that clear? What does it mean? Contaminated, conditioned. We are called conditioned souls. What does it mean when you say that we are conditioned? I don't know if that's clear to a lot of people. Conditioned, it means we have that conditioning, that setup. Just like if you have your mobile phone, then you condition it, right? You go to settings, you press settings, and then you set it the way you want it. You set your home page, you set your Wi-Fi, you set up, or you make it set up the way you want it. So the same way in conditioned life, we're contaminated life, we're also conditioned, we're set up. Our whole consciousness gets set up, and when we enter the material world by the material nature, and we have this consciousness that we're stuck with, and that is our conditioning. It's the way we are being set up, the way we act, the way we react in the world. So it's a very important thing to understand. What does it actually mean? We are conditioned. Conditioned to what? Conditioned by the material energy.
So should I ask each one of you to read this, or because I'm not seeing any hand raised so far? Manik Biswas.
There's some hands now, yeah.
Yes, Manik Biswas, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Manik.
What is this consciousness? This consciousness is I am. Then what am I? In contaminated consciousness, I am means I am the Lord of all. I survey. I am the enjoyer. The world revolves because every living being thinks that he is the Lord and creator of the material world. Material consciousness has two psychic divisions. One is that I am the creator, and the other is that I am the enjoyer. But actually, the Supreme Lord is both the creator and the enjoyer. And the living entity, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is neither the creator nor the enjoyer, but a cooperator. He is the creator and the enjoyer. For instance, a part of a machine cooperates with the whole machine. A part of the body cooperates with the whole body. The hands, legs, eyes, and so on are all parts of the body, but they are not actually the enjoyers. The stomach is the enjoyer. The legs move, the hands supply food, the teeth chew, and all parts of the body are engaged in satisfying the stomach, because the stomach is the principal factor that nourishes the body's organization. Therefore, everything is given to the stomach. One nourishes the tree by watering its root, and one nourishes the body by feeding the stomach. For if the body is to be kept in a healthy state, then the parts of the body must cooperate to feed the stomach. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer and the creator, and we as subordinate living beings are meant to cooperate to satisfy him. This cooperation will actually help us, just as food taken by the stomach will help all other parts of the body. If the fingers of the hand think that they should take the food themselves instead of giving it to the stomach, then they will be frustrated. The central figure of creation and enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, and the living entities the cooperators. By cooperation, they enjoy. The relation is also like that of the master and the servant. If the master is fully satisfied, then the servant is satisfied. Similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied, although the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy the material world are there also in the living entities, because these tendencies are there in the Supreme Lord who has created the manifested cosmic world.
Thank you very much, Manvik. Hare Krishna.
Do you do questions in this program? What's the...
Yeah, actually, Dipti Mataji is actually asking question in the group also, and we are also asking the question like after the session. So you can also ask a question in between also.
I'm just wondering, like paragraph you're reading, if anyone has any questions on that paragraph, it's fresh, rather than going right through to the end and then asking some questions. Maybe it's better paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah, it can be also done, but we are actually not receiving that much of questions. We are asking questions.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can ask a query here in between. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Manaji, you can ask.
In between, we had said the central figure of creation and enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, and the living entities are the cooperators, and by cooperation, they enjoy. So, Prabhuji, what does living entities out here mean actually
What
to a
does?
layman? The living entities mean here,
Living entities means we, the Jivatma.
all of us here, right?
All of us, the we, the Jivatma, yes. Not only human form, whatever different form we may be in, is this the Jivatma.
Right, right. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
I mean, this is an interesting paragraph.
Yes.
There's a very nice example from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami to clarify this idea. We are in the material world as a jiva, and we're in this material body, and we think that we are this body, and we think that we are the enjoyer. So he gives this example that we think we are seeing. I'm seeing everyone. I'm seeing people around me. I see the God. I see objects. Everything are objects for my seeing and for my enjoyment. That's the bodily concept. But the actual, that is false ego. Actual real ego means I am also an object. We are all just objects. The jiva are all objects of Krishna's seeing. He's the one who's the seer, not us. He's seeing everyone, and we are objects of his seeing. So that's pure consciousness. That's pure ego. We are servant. He is the enjoyer, and we are the servant. But the material consciousness means I am the seer, and everyone is an object of my enjoyment, and therefore we have conflict because we against each other. But when Krishna's in the center, and we see like that he is the seer, and we are objects, all are objects of his pleasure, then we don't have any conflict with each other. Somehow to develop that, this paragraph is discussing that, being free from the bodily concept.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So I would request Ritambhara ji to unmute herself and start reading.
Hare Krishna. We shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita that the complete whole is comprised of the Supreme Controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestations, eternal time, and karma or activities, and all of these are explained in this text. All of these taken completely form the complete whole, and the complete whole is the supreme absolute truth. The complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All manifestations are due to his different energies. He is the complete whole. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Dr. Aparna Sharma, you can unmute yourself
Hare
and
Krishna.
start.
Can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. You can read
It
further.
is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. Brahman is more explicitly explained in Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
How's this?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear for me.
Yeah,
The-
it is audible for me also.
It's very clear.
The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of God ahead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of the absolute whole, and so also the conception of Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, it shall be seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushottama, is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called
Satchidanand Vigraha.
Satchidanand Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way. Ishvara Parma Krishna Satchidanand Vigraha
Anadir.
Anadir
Adir.
Govinda Sarva
Karanam.
Karan
Karanam.
Karanam. Govinda Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the primal cause, and he is the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat, eternity, feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of Satchidanand. But realization of the personality of God ahead, Krishna, is the realization of all the transcendental features, Satchidanand and Anand, and is in incomplete Vigra form.
Thank you very much.
Because when you read in the beginning of the introduction, it mentioned that the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna as the supreme Swayam Bhagavan. So this is confirming that the absolute truth is realized in three different stages: Brahman, impersonal, without form, and Paramatma, localized in the heart of every living entity, with every jiva, and Swayam Bhagavan, the personality himself as a person, God as a person himself. And Prabhupada gives a very simple analogy to understand it. He said, if I'm standing in the railway platform with three people, and we see from a distance a train coming, and we just see the light of the train. So we all look and say, oh, a train is light. We understand, train is light. We're all correct, it is a light. And then one person leaves, and he leaves with that understanding, impersonal understanding. A train is a light. So that is like a personal, impersonal realization. God is everywhere. And then the train comes closer. When we get to see behind the light, there's a form. The train actually has a shape. We realize that, oh, train is light, but it also has some form. So the second person leaves, he's thinking train is light, yes, but it also is form. He has a little more developed understanding. And the third person remains, and the train pulls into the railway platform, and he looks inside, and he sees people playing cards, somebody's eating, somebody's sleeping. He sees variety, activity, personal activity, personalized form. So then he understands, oh, so a train is actually light, but it is also has its own form, but also there is activity and variety. That is called full absolute truth. That is understanding the full absolute truth. Otherwise, on some other philosophy, they have partial understanding. It is not incorrect, but it is not full absolute truth.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roji. So I would request Neelam Soni ji to unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna, it is audible.
Yes, you can start reading.
People with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal, but he is transcendental person, and this confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nityo Nityam Chetanam, as we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the supreme absolute truth is also in the ultimate issue. A person and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless, or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I need actually more hands because I guess there are many peoples in this group. 39 participants we have, and we have only yes, now people are raising hands. So
But you have very confident readers. You could let them read that small paragraph. You could give 2 paragraphs.
okay. So next, I would like to request Charvi Sharma ji to unmute and start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The complete whole, the personality of Godhead has
Immense potential.
immense, dense,
Potencies.
Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate.
how Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This is phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself, because the 24
Elements.
elements of which this material universe is a temporary
Manifestation.
manifestation according to
Sankhya.
Sankhya philosophy are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and
Subsistence.
subsystem of the universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the supreme whole, and when
It's time.
the time is complete, this temporary manifestation will be
Annihilated
by the complete arrangement of the complete. There is complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living thing entries of realize the complete, and all these sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So Bhagavad Gita constants to the complete
Knowledge of Vedic wisdom. Knowledge of Vedic wisdom.
Thank you very much. It is very appreciated.
Excuse me, how old are you, Chavi?
Hare
8
Krishna.
years.
Huh?
8 years.
8 years. Very good. You got a very heavy paragraph, but you did very good.
Yes. This is what I was. Thank you very much, Harvey. So, Prabhuji, I would like to seek your inputs on this paragraph so we can better understand this.
The complete facility for small complete units to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. Very technical, very difficult. Inasmuch as the living entity is complete because it is spiritual in nature. The actual jiva is also spiritual, complete, Sat Chit Anand. Whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also fully complete spiritual energy. Therefore, there is every opportunity to understand everything in completeness, to understand everything completely. But this last point, all sorts of incompleteness are experienced, means all sorts of misunderstandings happen due to incomplete knowledge of the Supreme, because we don't understand God, because we don't understand who we are, we don't understand what is our purpose, we don't understand these things, we have that incomplete knowledge. Therefore, we find so many suffering in the material world, because we have that lack of knowledge because of ignorance. Therefore, we find so many problems and happiness and distress in the material world going on. We have to develop that complete understanding of the absolute truth.
Lokeshwar Prabhuji, Aparna Sharma has a question. She has mentioned in the chat from the previous paragraph.
Yes, yes, I was about to asking. I have to unmute now.
Harigol Prabhu wants to be the next to read. He has also mentioned it in the chat. So kindly.
Yes, yes. So, Aparna Sharma ji, you can ask your question.
I just wanted to ask about that complete Vigraha. What does it mean? And Nityo Nityanam Sita, just to elaborate this thing. I'm not unable to understand. Nityo Nityanam
Chetanas Chetnanam.
Chetanam. Yeah, this one.
Yes,
As
I would
we are
request.
all individual living beings and have our individuality, the Supreme Lord also, the Supreme Absolute Truth, is also in the ultimate issue a person. It is just making that understanding. There are some realization of the absolute truth as being impersonal, that he has no, that the absolute truth, God, is just an energy, an impersonal energy, and not a person. So that's one level of understanding. Whereas this is explaining that just like we are individual living beings, God is also an individual person. He's actually a person. In fact, in creation, everything is personal. Even we look at Yamuna River, but we know that there is a Yamuna Devi, a personality of the Yamuna. Even Sudarshan Chakra, it is the Lord's personal weapon, but Sudarshan also manifests as a person. There is a person, Sudarshan. So everything has personality. Nothing is impersonal. I mean, we have our aura, the sun has its sunshine, but the sun, there is a sun God, there is a personality. So in everything there's person. So this verse is explaining to us that the absolute truth ultimately is also a person. We should identify with God as a person, not just an energy or not just a cosmic consciousness, but also as an individual person.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So I would request His Grace Haribol Prabhu to read further on this from this paragraph. All Vedic knowledge is infallible.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Prabhuji, completely.
Okay. Hare Krishna. All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take a bath to purify himself. But in Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be a purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction. And indeed, by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge.
So when we come to reading Bhagavad Gita, we should take it like that. We should read Gita in a mood to understand, but we should not challenge. We should accept whatever we're reading, even if we don't understand it fully right now. But we should read it and accept everything, and in a mood to understand.
Thank you very much. So I would request Deepa Jagtani ji to unmute and start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanwar Pranam. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down as it's stated in Bhagavad Gita by Parampara, disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the supreme spiritual master, the Lord himself, and handed down to succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called apurusya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of a mundane world who is infected with four defects. Mundanar is sure to commit mistakes, is invariable illusion, he has tendency to cheat others, and is limited by imperfect senses. With these four imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge. Vedic
Thank you
knowledge is
very
not.
much. Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna,
much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Now, Ritambaraji have already read, and Manvi Pushpa, Atharva Joshi, I would like to ask to unmute. And Atharva Joshi, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses.
We just did that one. Next paragraph.
Just a minute.
No,
Let
yeah,
knowledge.
we did this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's already been read.
My bad, sorry.
Vedic
Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purna, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subject to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in the universe and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Paramatma because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance.
You can read next paragraph also.
Yeah, okay, sure. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view, and at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishye
Vachanam Tva.
Vachanam Tva. I shall act according to your word.
Thank you very much. So, Ritambaraji, you can lower your hand and start reading.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. In this world, man is not meant to toil like hogs. He must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like an ordinary animal. A A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literature is meant for human beings, not for animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the law of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to the different modes of nature: the activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of eatables also: eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All of this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will become purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much. I would like to request Pancharatna Prabhuji to give your input on this.
The couple of paragraphs previous, there was this 4 defects, and someone was about to read the paragraph again. Actually, what it would have been good, we could read each paragraph 10 times to try to understand it. But it's this idea that there are 4 defects that the jiva suffers in the material world. And these defects are there that we are always sure to commit mistakes. Right? There's always some mistake. Even something we do 100% right, there's some mistake in it. And then Bhagavad Gita says that even something that's done perfectly right, there's some mistake. Even in some mistake, there's also some good. So we have a tendency to commit mistakes. We don't mean to, but it happens. So there's one of our defects. Otherwise, invariably, we're illusioned. We're not sure what we think. Prabhupada said, sometime at nighttime we see a snake, we think it's a rope. We see a rope, we think it's a snake. We are not sure. We have a tendency to be confused and illusioned. And we have a tendency to cheat. Prabhupada said there's 2 types of people in the world, the cheaters and the cheated. And it's not that there are cheaters and I always get cheated. Sometimes we're cheating and sometimes we're cheated. It happens, situations arise. It's like that. We have a tendency to cheat others. We have a tendency to become cheated. And then we're limited by imperfect senses. We don't know what's happening around us. We don't know what other people are thinking. We don't know what's happening in the room next door. We're not sure. We have this imperfect senses. Therefore, we are not able to understand and speak transcendental knowledge because we are covered by these defects. Whereas the personality of God, it is not covered by these defects. Therefore, he can speak this knowledge. He can give us true transcendental knowledge. That was a previous, but then also here we're talking about is beginning to touch on the 3 different modes of nature, Sattva-gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. And everything in life is covered by these modes. Every single thing we do, everything we speaking is by, even giving donations, even religious activities are covered by the modes. Everything is covered by the modes of nature. And that dictates our next birth, that it dictates our consciousness.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So I would request Charanjit Gabaji to unmute and start reading further.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The destination is called the Sanatan sky, the eternal spiritual sky. Yad Gatvana Nivartante Tad Dhamma Parman Mama. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of the material world. Whether we use as an example this body or a piece of fruit or anything. But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatan, eternal. The Jiva is also described as Sanatan, eternal, and the Lord is also described as Sanatan. In the 11th chapter, we have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatan Dharma or sky or Sanatan supreme personality and the Sanatan living entities. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatan occupation or Sanatan Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, but all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Law. That is called our pure life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Gaurav Goyal.
Everything
Yes,
has dharma. Everything has its intrinsic nature. The dharma of water is to be wet. Right? The intrinsic nature of water is that it is wet. The intrinsic nature of fire is that it is hot. It has its nature. So the same thing, living entities also have their own intrinsic nature that is called dharma. And the Sanatan Dharma is the nature of the living entity, is that the living entity is eternal. That is our dharma. We are servant of the Lord and we are eternal. That is our Sanatan Dharma. Our eternal dharma is service to the Lord.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So, Gaurav Goyalji, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord and his transcendental abode are both Sanatana, as are the living entities, and the combined association of the Supreme Lord and the living entities in the Sanatana abode is the perfection of human life. The Lord is very kind to the living entities because they are his sons. Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yonisu Aham Bija Pradha Pita. I am the father of all. Of course, there are all type of living entities according to their various karmas. But here the Lord claims that he is the father of all of them. Therefore, the Lord descends to reclaim all of these fallen, conditioned souls, to call them back to the Sanatan eternal sky so that the Sanatan living entities may regain their eternal Sanatan positions in eternal association with the Lord. The Lord comes himself in different incarnations, or he sends his confidential servants as sons or his associates or acharyas to reclaim the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Rekha Punjabi Mataji, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Therefore, Sanatan Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the eternal living entities in relationship with the eternal Supreme Lord. Sanatana Dharma refers, as stated previously, to the eternal occupation of the living entity. Sripada Ramanujacharya has explained the word Sanatana as that which has neither beginning nor end. So when we speak of Sanatan Dharma, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sripad Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. The English word religion is a little different from Sanatan Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process and he may change this faith and adopt another. But Sanatan Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be taken from water, nor can heat be taken from fire. Similarly, the eternal function of the eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatan Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatan Dharma, therefore, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sripad Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian, for it cannot be limited by any boundaries. Those belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatan Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply into the matter and consider it in the light of modern science, it is possible for us to see that Sanatan Dharma is the business of all the people of the world, nay, of all the living entities of the universe.
Thank you
Not
very much, Krishna Priya. So I would like to request Pancharatna Prabhuji to please give your input so we can better understand this.
Non-sectarian. Srila Prabhupada is saying we are not a religion in that sense. Though externally it may seem we have our worship and puja, but ultimately Prabhupada always said Bhagavad Gita is very scientific. It's a very scientific approach. It is not a religious approach because we are non-sectarian. The basic principles of religion that there is a supreme person, there is a God, and he should be worshipped. Religion means the detail of how you worship. In some places they worship in a particular way, that some have other festivals, they have different processes. But the basic principles, they never change in all religion. God is supreme, and our purpose is there to develop that relationship with the supreme. That is Sanatan. Those principles never change. And the details of how exactly you worship, the religion behind it, that changes, that may change, but the basic principles never change. God is always the supreme.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So,
That's
Hari
why Srila
Bol.
Prabhupada said we can embrace all religions. We accept all religions as long as people follow Bible. If they follow the Bible, then we accept any mainstream religion. If people follow, then we accept. We are not sectarian. We are right, they are wrong. No, they're all right in their own way.
True, Prabhuji.
When we are preaching in some Islamic countries, we don't say, "Oh, you take away the Quran, now you follow Bhagavad Gita. It's better." We don't present like that. We present, here is Bhagavad Gita. It is an extension of the Quran. The Quran is also perfect. It has perfect teaching, and Bhagavad Gita is an extension to that, and people are able to understand and accept.
Yeah, that is true, Prabhuji. So, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Haribol Prabhuji have raised his hand. I would like to request Haribol Prabhu to please unmute and start reading, or you have any questions you can ask.
Hare Krishna, I will read.
Yes.
Non-Sanatan religious faith may have some beginning. Sorry. Non-Sanatan religious faith may have some beginning in the annals of human history, but there is no beginning to the history of Sanatan Dharma, because it remains eternally with the living entity. Insofar as the living entities are concerned, the authoritative Shastras state that the living entity has neither birth nor death. In the Gita, it is stated that the living entity is never born and he never dies. He is eternal and indestructible, and he continues to live after the destruction of his temporary material body. In reference to the concept of Sanatan Dharma, we must try to understand the concept of religion from the Sanskrit root meaning of the word. Dharma refers to that which is constantly existing with a particular object. We conclude that there is heat and light along with the fire. Without heat and light, there is no meaning of the word fire. Similarly, we must discover the essential part of the living being, that part which that part which is his constant companion. That constant companion is his eternal quality, and that eternal quality is his eternal religion.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So it's 9:27. We can take one more paragraph. It's a big paragraph. We can take one paragraph, and would like to request Neelam Soniji to unmute and start reading.
When Sanatan Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the Swarup of every living being, the Lord replied that the Swarup or constitutional position of the living being is the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we analyze the statement of Lord Chaitanya's, we can easily see that every living being is constantly engaged in rendering service to another living being. A living being services other living beings in various capacities. By doing so, the living entity enjoys life. The lower animals serve human beings as servant, serve their master. A server, B master, B serves C master, and C serves D master, and so on. Under these circumstances, we can see that one friend serves another friend, the mother serves the son, the wife serves the husband serves the wife, and so on. If we go on searching the spirit, it will be seen that there is no exception in the society of living beings to the activity of service. The politicians present his manifesto for the public to convince them of his capacity for service. The voters therefore give the politician their valuable votes, thinking that he will render valuable service to society. The shopkeepers serves the customer, and and the artisans serve capitalist. The capitalist serves the family. The family serves the state in the terms of eternal capacity of eternal living being. In this way, we can see that no living being is exempt from rendering service to other living beings, and therefore we can safely conclude that service is the constant companion of living being, and that is rendering of service is the eternal religion of living being.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Would request Pancharatna Prabhuji to please give your inputs, and then we will wind up here by having some quick announcements.
The last paragraph was perfect to finish, because the whole way through it was setting up for this, explaining that the Lord is complete and the living entity is complete, and when they are working together symbiotically, assisting and working together with each other, that is also complete. It is also mentioning that the living entity is eternal and it has its own dharma. The living entity has their own dharma, their own nature, eternal nature. And then explanation of what means dharma was given. What is the dharma? So it talked about that every living entity has their own eternal dharma. What is the dharma? So this paragraph is perfect, explaining that the dharma of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Lord, not to serve our senses, not to serve others. In material consciousness, everybody's doing some service because that's our nature. So therefore, wherever we are in the world, we always end up serving someone, because that's our nature. You can see that is our intrinsic nature. But the real perfection of that service means to serve the Supreme Personality, to serve Bhagavan, to serve God. That is the perfection of service.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So I think all of us is now able to understand that our main objective of life is to serve, and our main dharma actually is to serve. And it's already 9:30, so I have some quick announcement. We'll do that, and then we'll just close here. So, first of all, I would like to request everyone that those of you are not having Bhagavad Gita copy, you can, we have that number in the group. You can contact on that number and ask us to send your Bhagavad Gita copy, because there is one more thing which I need to mention, that uh, you must be having some problems in reciting that Sanskrit verses, so you can have Bhagavad Gita copy, and there is in the last of in the end of Bhagavad Gita, there is like some examples are given that how you can pronounce that shlokas and all these things. So I would like to request, please order your Bhagavad Gita as soon as possible. And the second announcement is that in this month is called Kartik month or Damodar month. So we are having daily Deepdan program in our temple, ISKCON Mansarovar, Girdhari Dauji temple, from 7 to 7:30. So you all are invited with your family and friends. You can come and offer deep to the Lord Radha Damodar, Girdhari Dauji Gaur Nithai, and Radha Madan Mohan, and take advantage of this Kartik month. This is very auspicious indeed. And third announcement is that we are going to celebrate a big festival of Govardhan Puja on 15th of November, and that is Sunday. So it is you people have no excuses to not come. So you can all come and you can do your service in the form of your tan, man, and dhan. So you can also sponsor something to help temple, and you can like I was going through some shloka, and it is mentioned over there, if you do anything, any service and any donation in the service to Lord Krishna, there is plenty of benefits and you get so much pious benefit of that. So would request everyone to please serve the Lord in this month. And last but not the least, we'll announce the winner of quiz. We have this is I would just like to request Pancharatna Prabhuji to please stay with us for 2 more minutes, because I just like to I just like to tell you that these are the people who are just giving regular right answers, and those are Manvik have given all 5 answers correct. So first, I'm going to announce all 5 answers they have given correct. First is Manvik, second is Ajay Goyal, third is Renu, fourth is Deepika Goyal, and then Mudita, Rakesh Sharma, Charanjit, CP Sharma, Anuradha, Sushma Sharma, Reena Agrawal, Minakshi, DS Baghela, Radhesham Gupta, Krishna Priya, Raksha Verma, and Shravan Anand. So congratulations and thank you very much for, because gradually your answers very well. So there are many people who have given 4 correct answers. They and their names are Rekha Singh, Shyam Chaturvedi, Dinesh Vanjani, Kshitij Pachori, and Madhu Agrawal and Ronit Parashar. So thank you very much for all of to all of you. And last, we were also receiving 1 and 2 answers, but this time we do not have any 1 and 2. We all like we have category only for 3, 4, and 5. That's it. So there are people who have given 3 correct answer, and their names are Madhav Mittal, Sunita Sharma, Rajkumari Gupta. That's it. So most of you have given correct answers. So in the beginning we were having like correct 5 answers, where we were having only 3 participants who is giving correct answers, all 5 correct answer, and this time we have less numbers in the category who have given only 3 correct answers. So most of you have given 5 correct answers. So thank you and congratulations everyone. And I just want to sincerely thank His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu, and it is very much fortune for us that we have his association. So I would also like to request Pancharatna Prabhuji to please assist us further in this journey also. And I would I would like to ask Keshav Prabhu to please unmute everyone so we can like
Ek second.
thank.
Ek second.
Yes,
Second.
Prabhuji. Yes,
Just
Prabhuji.
two things I wanted to just say. You weren't very clear, Govardhan Puja. The program starts at 10:30 in the morning. Right, on 15th, it's 10:30 in the morning. Abhishek will start. So 3,100 rupees, you can come and you can do the Abhishek of Giriraj. You can do the Giriraj Parikrama, and you can go in the community hall and take big Annakut Prashadi with the whole family. So 4 family members, kids or whatever, you can bring everybody in. And just to cover costs, it's 3,100 rupees if anybody's feeling like it. But I wanted to just say, we are personal. Krishna's a person. We're also people. It's nice to see all your faces. Some I'm recognizing. At least whenever who's reading, if we could really have their face up on the video, we can see who they are and let's see them reading. It would help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So, Keshav Prabhuji, can you please unmute everyone so we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once to thank His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Ram Ram,
Hare Hare.
Thank you
Thank-
very much. Thank you, His Grace Pancharatna
We
Prabhu,
will-
and joined in this evening.
Keshav muted so fast. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Bhagavad Gita Yatharu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Prabhu.